I tend to use Pinterest for like three things. So I'd like to plan my manic fashion changes, like trying to dress well or trying to dress less like a lesbian kindergarten teacher. I'll save inspiration for like kitchens and tattoos that I'll never get. And then I also like to plan themed date nights for my husband and I on there. So, Toast Night, which was a big hit. I think that was pretty Pinterest inspired. Lately, though, I've seen a ton of AI generated posts on there, and it's just kind of really turned me off the whole thing. I think I'm not alone in that because if you search the downfall of Pinterest on YouTube right now, you'll see a few videos complaining about how sloppy, like full of AI slop Pinterest has gotten. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we are talking about the downfall of Pinterest because it seems like Pinterest is trying this new business strategy of flushing itself down the toilet. And it's doing this by banning its most devoted users, which, is, let's talk about it. So if you're less chronically online than I've been lately, you won't know about the mass bans that Pinterest has been throwing out like a sad Oprah. But pages talking about Pinterest on Reddit, Instagram, and TikTok are full of complaints about being banned with little to no warning and having pins taken down for adult content or harmful behavior, such as posting a picture of a bowl of strawberries and yogurt, according to one user. And it's not just them. People are getting accounts deactivated seemingly for pinning something that someone else posted. Like the Pinterest Reddit page alone is full of accounts saying that they've been banned, with some users having the max amount of pins, which is somewhere between 200,000 and 250,000 pins. So my 550 are definitely rookie numbers, but that is some serious dedication that they're losing with absolutely no way to get back. And I have to reiterate, people are getting banned not for what they're posting, but for what they're consuming. And the Pinterest ban bot seems to be pretty bad at actually identifying adult and harmful content. And Pinterest has said that they use AI to help moderate the content. So I do think that there's probably a case of like a bad bot thing going on here. And Pinterest has actually acknowledged this whole ban fiasco in a tweet response to another user, which isn't super public, but they did say, "We hear your concerns about recent account deactivations on Pinterest. To ensure Pinterest remains a safe and positive platform, we continuously monitor for content that violates our community guidelines, and accounts with violative content may be deactivated as a result. If you think your account was deactivated by mistake, please send us a DM at Ask Pinterest." So there is at least a response, but it's definitely not a big response. Also, as a side note, I do feel like that kind of response is just going to end up being so emblematic of the 2020s. Like, if you have a problem with a major corporation, of course your best way to solve it is to @ them on Twitter and pray that they see it and that enough people react so that the company deems it worth their time. God, that's just so dystopian. And I think after that, a couple Reddit users did say that their accounts were reinstated, but it doesn't seem like they matched their mass ban energy with mass reinstations. And a lot of people are still allegedly, and as of me writing the script, banned. And it's kind of sad. So I'll put up on the screen what some users had to say about their accounts being banned. But it really does seem to be hitting the arts girlies really hard. There's one talking about all of their art reference boards that have just totally been lost to them. And then another one with clothing style inspo, drawing inspo, writing, everything, which is so sad. And 20K pins down the garbage. I don't know. That's a big bummer, actually. So there are some Pinterest competitors, namely Cosmos, which people seem to be migrating to. But the drawback of Cosmos is that it seems to have a 500 pin limit, and then you have to pay a subscription fee. And that's as of me making this video. Who knows? They could change it. But finding that out actually kind of made this whole thing click for me. Because as much as this seems like it's just a case of Pinterest's moderation gone rogue, what if they're doing exactly what they want to be doing? So let's take a quick step back. Because if we're talking about the real downfall of Pinterest, there would probably be some kind of metric showing that, right? But I Googled the stock prices a couple days ago, and I don't know much about stocks, but it doesn't exactly look like it's bottoming out or anything like that. It looks like it's just kind of stable, mediocre, neither fantastic compared to its last 6 months nor great, which doesn't look like a company currently shooting itself in the foot. However, despite Pinterest neither doing great nor terrible, there was one interesting change in Pinterest stocks, and that was who owns them. So, Benjamin Silbermann, a co founder, former CEO, and director at Pinterest, who owned about 40% of the available shares of Pinterest, sold $13 million worth of shares, which was about 400,000 of them, and only held on to about 6,000. Those are some big numbers. So, what does this mean? It could just be a retired CEO who wanted to be a bit more liquid. Pinterest itself says that it still has an optimistic outlook for future trades, and it thinks that it's actually undervalued on the stock market. Or it could be a sign of the future to come for Pinterest, which might be, dumping its former user base in favor of becoming maybe a visual search engine riddled with AI-generated content, aka trash. Because in spite of the mass bans that have been going on, Pinterest's monthly user base does seem to be growing. So the most recent data I could find was from the fourth quarter of 2024, and we're probably in like the second quarter of 2025. So it's not exactly super recent, but it was definitely on an upward trend for 2023 and 2024. And it seems like they're probably going to try and keep that trajectory, which means, well, I'll tell you what it might mean. So it seems like things are currently sunshine and rainbows if your only goal is maximizing ad revenue, which has, of course, also increased according to Pinterest. So we have increases in usership, a former CEO selling off a lot of stocks, mass bans, and AI slop taking over the app. What could these possibly have in common? I am going to take a stab in the dark and say that Pinterest might be being enshittified by its current leadership. So, enshittification, according to Wikipedia, and yes, I am saying enshittification, also known as crapification or platform decay, is a pattern in which two-sided online products and services decline in quality over time. Initially, vendors create high-quality offerings to attract users. Then they degrade those offerings to better serve business customers, and finally degrade their services to users and business customers to maximize profits for shareholders. So it's probably just like a cash grab profit maximization thing. So why would banning dedicated users be good for a company? And it's partially because it's simply not that many users. While those individual users are pretty sad, it's not that many in the grand scheme of Pinterest usership. But there was also a theme I noticed in people who had been banned. So phrases like years worth of pins, 20K pins, 200K pins were so common among users who reported being banned. So not only is Pinterest mass banning users, it's allegedly mass banning loyal users who have been active for years. And here's where it all starts making sense, because one user on Reddit put those same pieces together and alleged that the mass bans of loyal users is the strategy to save storage space. So I'll just read it out loud for you and then speed myself up. So the comment says, I have a simple answer for you. If you have a truly massive account like 50K to 200K pins, the max is 200K, that is an enormous amount of storage space. With Pinterest recommendations, the average file size is 20 megabytes. Assuming you have a 100K pin account, it's reasonable to assume that's 2 terabytes. There are 457 million Pinterest accounts in a recent measurement. If they all had that much stored as an average, they don't, we'd be talking about 914,000 petabytes. I don't think I have to go into further details for you all to realize that storage is Pinterest's largest expense. The more large accounts it can archive or delete, the more money it saves. It's easy to excuse wiping out the inconvenient and costly large accounts if you blame AI. More importantly, the more AI, the lower the payroll costs. So this entire banning spree can potentially save Pinterest a vast fortune. Advertisers won't care if you complain. They see the numbers, they see that Pinterest has many users and record profits. They have literally zero reason to listen to us or shift gears, and shareholders don't care as long as they're making money. I don't really see how to change a company that has a user base equal to 9% of the internet-connected people in the world. So this would mean that Pinterest is allegedly deleting users like I deleted pictures of my breakfast to make room for Temple Run on my iPod Touch when I was 13. Now, that's not the only theory that banned users have. In fact, the predominant theory on the subreddit seems to be that they've just switched moderation over to some kind of AI or bot that's making a lot of mistakes, which is also probably true. Either way, it probably comes down to the normal story of corporate greed. So that's fun for all of us. So, what do you guys think? Has Pinterest gone the way of Uber and Airbnb and it's destined to just get worse and worse for the average user? Are they simply shifting their entire business strategy? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Okay, so I was making the thumbnail for this video, and it appears that Pinterest did finally respond on both Twitter and I think Instagram. That looks like Instagram. And basically, they claimed that they were taking action on violations of their content policies, but an internal error led to over enforcement, and some accounts were mistakenly deactivated. So, do with that what you will. They've apparently reinstated some accounts, but I don't know. I don't think that really changes the video because I think a lot of people are still banned, actually. So, yeah, they've at least recognized it, apparently, but they are claiming it was an internal error. So I wonder what kind of error that was, Pinterest. So, yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye. If you're wondering how I'm doing, the answer is severely vitamin D deficient.